Hello, everyone. I'm here with Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana, who won his first round in the tournament. Fabiano, tell me a little bit about your thoughts going into the tournament, and then how do you feel about getting the first game out of the way?
Yeah, well, it's coming off another tournament, which in some ways is good to at least have some like practice and some openings prepared from the last tournament. And a lot of players here are also coming off that tournament as well. So in some ways it's good, but also of course it is a bit tiring to play two back-to-back tournaments. I had one day in between, and it was a travel day as well. And I was playing a young, talented player in the first round. I think he's going to one of the universities here, and I knew that it would be dangerous. I'm also playing with the black pieces, which isn't, of course, it would be a bit preferable to start with white in an open tournament, but I still wanted to play ambitiously, and we got a very fighting position, um, which I was kind of hoping for. Carl's bad structure, so the pieces stay on the board for a long time, and then it turned into some sort of like French kind of structure with reverse colors. And then he made a very surprising mistake, a6, which leads to a like he had more dark square control, and then he kind of gives up a lot of dark square control. After that, I thought I have like good chances to get some initiative. Then I started to attack on the king side, and it all went smoothly from there.
And considering you're the first player in the tournament and playing back to back, all eyes are on you. Do you ever feel any pressure that you have to win it all?
No, definitely, I do feel pressure. Like normally in a tournament, of course, there's something at stake, but it's just a tournament, right? And because I'm also fighting for potential candidates qualification, and this race is very, very tight, and it could come down to how I do in this tournament as well, and also how my rivals do in their tournament. So there is some extra pressure for sure, and because I'm playing a lot of players who I outrate by quite a bit, and to keep my rating, I will probably have to score pretty highly. So there is definitely pressure, but it's not something I'm completely unused to.
I see. And also, a lot of the people who have helped you in the past are competing in this tournament. I won't name them for the purpose of maybe keeping some secrecy, but tell me if you're going to compete against them, if you're going to have to play against them, is that going to be more difficult or easier?
Definitely more difficult. Although I have played, for example, Grigori, it's well known that we work together. I have played him many times, and also in the last tournament, I was expecting to face him at some point. It's rather awkward to play someone who you know well and who you've worked with, and also to decide on openings. When let's say he knows my openings very well, I know his openings pretty well. So I wouldn't say it's a pleasure to play against people who I've worked with, just because it adds that extra, things you all those things you have to think about, like openings and yeah, also if you're friends with someone, it's not super pleasant to have to try to beat them. But I guess this is a situation all chess players at some point have faced.
Do you try to keep someone in your back pocket and just have a secret coach that nobody knows about? And whenever you're playing a tournament, hopefully they're not, and then they get to help you a bit, or does that not happen?
No, I'm not going to keep any secrets. I'm not working with anyone here. I'm just on my own, which I think pretty much everyone here is probably on their own. I don't imagine many people here have seconds, and even if you had a second, it's not like you have much time to prepare. It might make it a bit easier, but yeah, I didn't want to add like that extra factor to think about. Like, when you're working with someone during a tournament, it also takes some energy in terms of thinking about what you have to tell them to work on, and so on. So in some ways it's easier, but for a tournament like this, where I think preparation will not play a huge role overall, I don't know if it's really necessary.
And being the strongest player in the tournament, a lot of people tend to say that your opponents might try to go for draws or play more equal positions. Are you worried about that at all, or not?
It's not so much a worry; it's just a consideration. I know that um, many players here will be happy to have a draw against me, and in many cases I will need to play for a win, sometimes taking some extra risks. So it's it's not really something that worries me, because it's also what I had to face in the last tournament I played, where I was even facing lower rated players in here. Like here, I still think it's less pressure because it's so strong, and there are so many players who will also try to push for win, especially with the white pieces. And I don't know if the winning score will necessarily be super high. just because at some point it's going to be 2600s playing against each other most likely. So, and those kinds of games you can expect a high likelihood of a draw. So I don't know if the winning score will be, maybe 6.5, maybe 7 points, but I don't think it'll be tremendously high. And in that sense, there's a bit less pressure to score.
And the last question that I have for you, Fabi, do you think that playing at home from your hometown, does it help you to play, or is it an impediment?
I wouldn't really know, except that the results seem to say that it does help me. So I can only really fall back on the results, and I have done in the last few years. I have done very well playing in St. Louis, in the U.S. Championship, and in various Grand Chess Tour events. I've usually played better than in tournaments away from home. So although logically I wouldn't know why that would be the case, it does seem to help me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you good luck. Everyone's rooting for you here. Back at you guys.